Now you must be wondering, what is media? It is the main means of mass communication such as television, radio, newspapers, and the internet. But what is law? It is a system of rules that a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members and may enforce by the imposition of penalties. But have you ever thought about the effects media has on the law? Well, criminal cases constitute the fourth largest category of stories for newspapers and television, after sports, general interest, and business. Also, research indicates that the majority of public knowledge about crime and justice is derived from the media. How does media play an influence on the perceptions and expectations related to criminal trials and legal procedures? Media has a contravening influence on the perceptions and expectations related to criminal trials and legal procedures because it alters the impartiality of the jurors, directs negative bias towards public opinion of the judicial system, and destroys the reputation and dignity of wrongly accused individuals.
The impartiality of a juror can lead to misconduct within the judicial system and can have a negative impact on the pending trial and bring forth unnecessary media coverage.
The strength of the jury in the system of justice is the impartiality of the jurors. So who are they? Impartial jurors are those who are willing and able to consider the evidence presented at trial without preconceived opinions about the defendant's guilt or innocence, and to deliberate in good faith a justified verdict. The rapid evolution of various types of new media over the past 2 decades poses serious challenges to this concept of juror impartiality. Internet-based technologies now make it possible for jurors to access virtually any piece of published information about pending cases in minutes, regardless of when or where published, according to jury studies conducted by the National Center for State Courts.
I think their opinions of what they see and hear, if they were to tweet that or use social media, that would affect the public.
Not only that, but for some jurors, reliance on these technologies for everyday tasks has become so ingrained that it would require great effort to refrain from doing so for the duration of a trial. As a result, judges and lawyers can no longer be confident either that a sufficient number of prospective jurors on any given panel will meet the traditional definition of an impartial juror. Through social networking services like Facebook and Twitter, jurors have committed significant and often high-profile acts of misconduct. Just recently, the Arkansas Supreme Court had to reverse a death sentence because a juror tweeted about the case during deliberations. Erickson Dimas Martinez was convicted of murder in 2010 for shooting and robbing a teenager, Derek Jefferson, after a party in Arkansas 4 years earlier. Mr. Randy Franco tweeted, "Choices to be made, hearts to be broken. We each define the great line." Because of the very nature of Twitter as an online social media site, Juror 2's tweets about their trial were very much public discussions, wrote Associate Justice Donald Corbin.
Media has always had a strong effect on public perceptions of the legal system, its cases, and the laws. And this is not just now. For example, the death penalty in Victoria was abolished in 1975 due to a media campaign. The news media industry provides the public with updates of current issues and events, functions like any form of business, focusing on what sells. Dating back to the 1960s, print media used dramatic stories known as yellow journalism to attract readers and increase profits, and entertainment-oriented news was frequently producing 60% of a television station's profits. Similarly, modern mass media reporters and editors focus on hot topics of current social problems that provide entertainment value. Typically, a journalist uncovers some unique, isolated event which they present as a new social evil to quickly draw public attention. The publicity triggers awareness of similar events, and journalists stretch their information to make connections to the new social issue. Before we can check our sources or even ask questions, the media frenzy created a crime problem the public will use to identify and explain as the reason behind any related incident. Different types of media come together as a representative image of the judicial system. They also act to provide information and influence the perception of the system that we have.
Because that's, for the most part, I think how the public, including myself, that's how we develop our opinions. That's how we become informed. A part of the way we become informed on how the law is either enforced or how the law is evolving. So whatever the media tends to report on, that aspect of whatever aspect of the law, if it's a specific crime or a new charge that has been developed, then yes, that's where I get my information. That's how I become informed about it. So clearly I'd say they're the biggest impact.
Okay.
People use the knowledge that they receive from the media to create an image of the world. These television and online portrayals give viewers a particular image of the criminal justice system. The portrayal of the system that is seen on media is that which is most widely presented and available to the viewing public. Therefore, it is an image of the legal system that we might expect to be most prevalent among the public and most influential in the perception and knowledge of how it works.
I think part of the reason is because people don't tend to research. They sort of listen to whatever was told to them and believe it without actually looking into it.
The media has a great impact on every aspect of the law, which can be stored for decades and can follow up with a suspected individual. Yes, media destroys a person's reputation after the story has been released, even if they are excused of those charges. Some laws are put in place so the media can be held responsible for inaccurate released information, such as defamation laws. It is very common for the media to release faulty news, but usually they end up getting away with it.
The laws exist to help curtail media putting out information that's inaccurate, that they know to be inaccurate. I think that, for the most part, that exists, and we're okay. As a society, we're okay with that. I'm a big believer in free speech, or the ability to exercise free speech, so quite frankly, my biggest concern when it comes to the media and the controlling of the message or whatever, however they want to send out a message, is accuracy. And you don't always get that.
A prime case which supports this point is John Ghomeshi's trial. On November 26, 2014, Ghomeshi turned himself into the Toronto police and was charged with 4 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of overcoming resistance by choking after an investigation that had begun on October 31, 2014. On October 24, 2014, Ghomeshi, who was at the time working for CBC as a radio broadcaster, announced he was taking an indefinite leave of absence from the network to deal with the personal matter. 2 days later, the CBC terminated Ghomeshi's employment, with the CBC spokesperson saying, "Information came to our attention recently that in CBC's judgment precludes us from continuing our relationship with John." The trial of Ghomeshi began on February 1, 2016 and lasted 8 days. On March 24th, the judge acquitted Ghomeshi of all charges on the basis that there was insufficient evidence to establish proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The inconsistency and the outright deception of the witness testimony had weakened the prosecution's case. Even though the charges were acquitted, Ghomeshi until this day, due to the media, cannot live a normal life. So,
do you believe that the media has a strong influence and at times a negative influence on the public's perception of the legal system, its cases, and convictions?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.